I asked to spend Mother's Day alone with my kids. My in-laws arrived unannounced and took over the day, calling me ungrateful. That night, I sat on the porch alone until I read the note my daughter slipped into my handbag because I'm not the kind of person who asks for much. I've always been the one who holds it together, at work, at home, with the kids. I take care of everything. Most days, I don't even stop long enough to feel how tired I am. So when I asked for just one thing for Mother's Day, just a quiet day with my kids, no visitors, no fuss, I honestly thought I'd earned that much. I told my husband, Greg, weeks in advance. I just want a low-key day, I said. No guests. Just me, Kayla, and Liam. He nodded and smiled. Of course. That's what you want. That's what we'll do. I believed him. Let me back up a little. Greg and I have been married 16 years. He's one of those nice-on-the-surface guys. He doesn't raise his voice, he doesn't cheat, he doesn't drink. But he also doesn't listen. He doesn't back me up. He folds like wet paper when it comes to his family. And they walk all over me, especially his mother and his sister. Greg's mom, Elaine, thinks she's queen of the family. She acts like every event revolves around her. Birthdays, holidays, even baby showers that aren't hers. Somehow, she always takes over. And Greg never says a word. His sister Laura is no better. She treats me like I'm some background character in her family story. Passive-aggressive comments. Fake smiles. Constant reminders that I'm lucky to be part of their family. It's been like this for years. But this Mother's Day was the last straw. That morning, I actually woke up feeling light. Like maybe, for once, I could just be. Kayla came in early with a tray of pancakes she made by herself. They were half-burnt and floppy, but I didn't care. She was proud. She had this huge smile on her face. Liam gave me a construction paper card that said, "You're the best mom in the whole world," in giant red marker. I nearly cried right then. I stayed in my pajamas. We watched a movie together. I braided Kayla's hair. We went out to the backyard and played with the dog. It was the kind of day I used to dream about when I was growing up with no mom. Then around 11:30, it all got ruined. I heard a car pull up. Then another. Doors slamming. Laughter. I looked through the kitchen window and saw Elaine getting out of her SUV with a giant bowl of potato salad and her company smile. Laura was right behind her with store-bought cupcakes and her kids, already yelling. I turned around and stared at Greg. What is this? He looked nervous. They just wanted to drop by. No. I told you I didn't want anyone here today. Babe, it's Mother's Day. My mom just wanted to see the kids. She's a mom too. That line. She's a mom too. Like somehow my role didn't count. They didn't just drop by. They stayed. They brought folding chairs. They set up a whole damn lunch on my patio table. They didn't ask me if it was okay. They didn't even speak to me directly, unless it was to criticize. Looks like someone didn't plan much of a menu, Elaine said as she unpacked her things. Good thing we came prepared. Laura chimed in. We figured you'd be tired or too busy, so we just took care of everything. I just stood there, silent, biting my lip so hard it bled. Kayla looked at me like she was waiting for me to say something. I didn't. I couldn't. Because what was I going to do? Scream at Greg's entire family in front of the kids? I went inside after a while and started cleaning dishes that weren't mine. At least inside. I didn't have to hear them. Then I heard it, loud and clear from the patio. Elaine, she's so cold. You'd think she'd be grateful someone threw her a Mother's Day lunch. Laura, that's just how she is. Always wants to be the center of attention. It was like someone punched me in the chest. I felt so humiliated, so small. I stood there holding a wet plate, just shaking. They stayed until almost 8. 8 hours of smiling for the kids, nodding at comments that felt like slaps, pretending like I didn't want to scream. I said maybe 10 words to Greg. He didn't notice. Or he didn't care. When they finally left, I didn't even say goodbye. I went out to the porch alone. Greg was on the couch watching some dumb show like the whole day hadn't just blown a hole through me. I sat there for a long time. Maybe an hour. Just breathing. holding it in. That's when I remembered my little purse. I reached into it looking for lip balm or gum, anything to distract myself. Instead, I found a piece of notebook paper folded in quarters. It was from Kayla. Her handwriting was neat but wobbly, like she had written it fast. Mom, I saw how sad you looked today. I heard Grandma and Aunt Laura. You didn't deserve that. You're the best mom ever. Don't let them make you think otherwise. I love you. Always. Kayla. I sat there, staring at it. And then the tears just came. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just slow and steady. I held that note like it was air, and I'd been drowning all day. Because Kayla saw. She heard what they said. She saw how I was treated. And if I don't change this now, she's going to think this is what love looks like. That this is normal. That was the moment something broke in me, and something else woke up. I wiped my face and stood up. I didn't go back inside right away. Instead, I made a list. Not just a list of boundaries, but a plan. A quiet, patient, strategic plan. Because I'm done letting them walk all over me. I'm done staying quiet so Greg doesn't get uncomfortable. I'm done letting people insult me in my own home on a day that was supposed to be mine. They wanted to take over my Mother's Day. They're about to find out what happens when the woman they think is too polite to fight back finally does. I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, listening to Greg snore next to me like nothing had happened. The next morning, I got the kids ready for school, packed their lunches, and walked them to the bus stop like always. But when I got home, I didn't clean. I didn't cook. I sat at the kitchen table with a legal pad and a pen. I started writing everything down. Every time Elaine had overstepped. Every time Laura insulted me. Every time Greg stood there like a statue while they made me feel like I didn't matter. There was a lot. I knew if I just snapped, it would blow up in my face. Greg would play dumb. His family would act like I was too emotional or making a big deal out of nothing. I had to be smart. So I started slow. I stopped answering calls and texts from Elaine and Laura. Let them go to voicemail. I didn't respond. When Elaine texted me a photo of Liam and said, "Can I take him for the weekend? I'll come get him Friday," I replied simply, "We have plans." We didn't. Greg asked me, "Did you see the message from my mom?" "Yeah," I said. "She says she's not sure why you're being distant." I didn't even look up from the dishes. Maybe she should think about it. He didn't say anything after that. The next week, I sat down with a therapist. I found her through a coworker, and I was lucky. She had a last-minute cancellation. I spilled everything. 15 years of being overlooked, disrespected, made to feel like an outsider in my own marriage. The therapist just nodded and said, "You're not crazy. You've been conditioned to feel like your voice doesn't matter." That was all I needed to hear. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I opened a private bank account. Nothing big, just a separate checking account at a credit union near the hospital where I work. I started depositing small amounts into it every week. Birthday money from my aunt. Overtime pay. Whatever I could slide without Greg noticing. I wasn't planning to leave. Not yet. But I wanted options. A few weeks later, Greg's family had a barbecue. I didn't go. I told him I had to work, even though I didn't. I stayed home with the dog and watched movies and felt the quiet like a blanket over my shoulders. When Greg got home, he was pissed. "You couldn't even come for an hour?" I looked at him dead in the eyes. "Why would I? Your family doesn't respect me. They were asking about you. Did you tell them the truth?" He shut down. Classic Greg. When confronted, he either got defensive or acted like the conversation never happened. That night, he slept in the guest room. Things got worse from there. Elaine started dropping by just to see the kids, even though I told her not to. One day I came home from work and found her in my kitchen, baking with Liam like she lived here. I didn't scream. I didn't even raise my voice. I just said, "You need to leave. Now." And when she started arguing, I said, "I don't need permission to ask someone to leave my house." That night, I finally laid it out to Greg. Your mom comes over again without asking, I will call the cops. He looked at me like I had slapped him. You're seriously threatening my mother? I'm protecting myself. And our kids. Because what she's doing is disrespectful and manipulative, and you let her. He just stared at me. And that's when I knew, really knew, he wasn't going to change.
So I did.
I started therapy with Kayla. Not because she was acting out, she wasn't, but because she needed someone safe to talk to. And I wanted her to know it was okay to name the things that hurt, even if they came from family. Kayla told the therapist things I didn't know she'd seen. She said, sometimes I feel like Daddy cares more about Grandma's feelings than Mom's. She said, Grandma always talks about how she raised her kids the right way, like Mom's doing it wrong. She said, I wanted to scream when they ruined Mother's Day. I cried in the car afterward. But not from pain, from clarity. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't dramatic. I was a woman being gaslit in her own house, and my daughter saw it. That's when I stopped tiptoeing. I set up cameras inside the house. Not hidden, just smart home cams. I said it was for security. But what I really wanted was documentation. Proof. Because I was preparing for war, and I wasn't going to lose. Then came the breaking point. Elaine showed up at the school without asking and tried to check Liam out early for ice cream. The office called me, confused. I told them absolutely not. I said no one besides me or Greg was allowed to take the kids out. Ever. When I got home, I told Greg exactly what happened. He actually shrugged. She was just trying to do something nice. Without asking. Without telling us. You think that's nice? She's their grandmother. And I'm their mother. He didn't get it. He never would. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I just added it to the list, the file I was building. The plan I was almost ready to put into motion. They thought they could control my day, my house, my kids, my peace. But they were about to find out just how dangerous it is to corner a woman who finally has nothing left to lose, and a daughter watching everything. About 2 weeks after the school incident, I got a call from the pediatrician's office. Hi, Mrs. Brennan. We just wanted to confirm the appointment you scheduled for Liam, the ADHD evaluation. It's for next Thursday at 10 a.m. I was confused. I hadn't made any such appointment. I didn't schedule that. There was a pause. We have it under your son's name, with your mother-in-law listed as the primary contact. She said you were unavailable and gave us her insurance card. My blood went cold. I told them to cancel it immediately and not allow anyone but me or Greg to make appointments. Then I called Greg. Why is your mother trying to schedule medical evaluations for Liam? He had the nerve to act surprised. What are you talking about? She gave the doctor her insurance, claimed I wasn't available, and tried to get Liam evaluated without even telling me. What the hell is going on? Maybe she's just concerned. You know Liam has trouble focusing. Don't defend her. She's going behind my back. And if she does it again, I'll file for a restraining order. Greg said nothing. I could hear him breathing, but he didn't say a single word in defense of me. That was the moment I stopped thinking of him as my partner. What I didn't know yet, what I would find out soon, was that this went even deeper. A few days later, Kayla came into my room while I was folding laundry. She looked nervous. She had her phone in her hand.
Mom,
I need to show you something. She sat beside me and pulled up a video. It was from a group text between her cousin Maddie, Laura's daughter, and a few other girls in their extended family. She hadn't meant to open it, but she saw her name pop up in the preview, so she clicked. The video was of Elaine and Laura sitting on the couch during that infamous Mother's Day, laughing and talking. Maddie had filmed it and sent it to the group chat as some kind of joke. In the video, Elaine says loud and clear, "One day we're going to have to step in and raise those kids right. She's ruining them." Laura laughs. Greg just puts up with her because of the kids. You know he wanted to leave her 5 years ago, right? Elaine. He'll come to his senses. She'll drive him away eventually. They all do. I didn't speak. I didn't move. I just sat there, staring at the screen. Kayla whispered, "I'm sorry."
I didn't know they talked about you like that.
I hugged her tight. Thank you for showing me. You did the right thing. That night, I confronted Greg again. I told him I'd seen the video. His face went pale.
I didn't know they said that.
I didn't believe him. I think deep down, he did know. Maybe not those exact words, but the attitude, the entitlement, the contempt. He'd seen it. And he let it slide every time. I asked him point blank, "Did you really almost leave me 5 years ago?" He didn't answer right away. Then he said quietly, "We were going through a rough patch." That's not an answer. I talked to my mom about it. I needed someone to talk to. So, you went to the woman who's been trying to erase me since the day we met? That was it for me. I realized that for years, Greg had been giving them little pieces of our life. Our struggles. My mistakes. Every crack in our marriage, he handed to them like ammo. And they'd been stockpiling it, planning for the day they'd take over. And now they were escalating, using medical decisions, school pickups, planting stories in the family group chats. But I was ready. I had evidence.
Notes.
Texts.
Audio recordings.
Financial logs. That secret bank account now had over $6,000. I'd quietly met with a lawyer the week before and started drawing boundaries legally. What they didn't know was that I wasn't just planning to distance myself. I was preparing to turn everything they'd built, the fake image of the perfect family, into dust. I didn't move fast. I moved quietly. For the next month, I let Greg believe everything was fine. I smiled. I cooked. I even let him kiss me on the cheek before bed, all while gathering what I needed. I had my own phone bill transferred to my name. I changed all my online passwords. I met with a family lawyer 3 more times. She walked me through everything: custody, finances, even how to safely protect my kids during the separation. Because this wasn't just about me anymore. It was about Kayla and Liam growing up in a house where their mother had no voice. Where their grandmother called the shots, their aunt mocked their mom, and their father stood by and let it all happen. The night it all came together was a Thursday. Greg had just come home from work. He sat down at the kitchen table, scrolling his phone. I told him dinner would be late, that I had something important to show him. I walked over and placed a folder in front of him. Inside was a printed transcript of Elaine and Laura's conversation, from that video Kayla showed me, with screenshots of texts, dates, and photos. He flipped through it slowly. Then he looked up at me. "You're doing this?" I nodded. "I already filed. You'll be served in the morning. I've requested full physical custody. I have proof your mother tried to make unauthorized medical decisions. And I have statements from Kayla's therapist. You're free to contest it. But I don't think a judge will side with someone who let his mother try to raise his kids behind his wife's back." He stood up. "You're being vindictive."
No.
"I'm being done." The next day, he got served at work. Elaine called me 3 times that afternoon. I didn't answer. Then she sent a long, nasty email accusing me of tearing the family apart, of using the kids to punish Greg, and even had the nerve to say, "You're going to ruin their lives just to make a point." So I made my own point. I forwarded the email to my lawyer. Then I sent Elaine one short reply. "You lost access to this family the moment you treated me like I didn't belong. You don't get to hurt people and then cry when they finally stand up." Then I blocked her. Laura tried to rally other relatives. She made a few Facebook posts about certain people turning kids against their grandparents. But I was ready for that too. I posted once. Just once. No drama.
No shade.
Sometimes the hardest thing a mother can do is show her children what self-respect looks like. I didn't leave because I was angry. I left because I remembered who I am and who my children deserve to see me be. The comments flooded in. Old coworkers, former classmates, aunts and cousins, all telling me how proud they were, how strong I was, how they wished their mothers had done the same. The final blow didn't come from me. It came from Kayla. 2 weeks after Greg moved out, she asked if she could write something for her English class about someone who changed her life. Her teacher emailed me the essay to say she cried reading it. It was titled, "The Day My Mom Took Back Her Voice." In it, Kayla wrote about Mother's Day, about how she saw me sit alone on the porch with my heart broken, about how she used to think it was normal for moms to be invisible, to get walked over for the sake of peace. Then she wrote this. I used to think my mom was quiet. Now I know she was just waiting for the right moment to roar. I read that and cried for the last time. Not from sadness, but from pride. As for Greg, he's still trying to get shared custody. The court ordered a family evaluation. The counselor noted his failure to maintain boundaries with extended family and Kayla's stated preference to remain primarily with her mother. Greg's living in a rented apartment now. Alone. The last I heard, Elaine and Laura were blaming him for letting it all fall apart. I didn't take revenge with screaming or fighting. I did it with silence. With proof. With calm power. And by putting my kids first, finally and fully. Because the best revenge isn't loud. It's becoming the woman they never thought you had the strength to be. And making damn sure your daughter never forgets it.